And then we went to Mr. Valdivia's home, and Edgar was a gracious host. And describe, what did you think of that experience?
The Don. You know, Edgar is just synonymous, obviously we all know, with dragon fruit. Such a gentleman. It was nice to hear that he lived in South Africa for 15 years, something I didn't know. He pulled out a book, which he keeps everybody that comes to see him. He keeps a list and
his logbook, yes, and so he remembers everybody that's been there.
Well, it answered something for me, that a question that I've had on my farm from day one.
And can you tell us that question that was answered?
So I bought 7 varieties from Australia when I first started, and when they finally started producing fruit, they were not what I thought they were. They weren't 7 varieties, they ended up being 23 varieties. And I contacted the owners and they said they couldn't understand that. Well, Edgar tells me that these people came to visit him and the dates line up, and he gave them cuttings, but he gave them a whole lot of seeds and seedlings.
So the Israeli breeding program comes from Edgar's plants, is
Correct.
what we learned.
And it explains why my fruit, I can't recognize it anywhere.
So pardon the interruption, but I wanted to clarify this part of the interview a little bit better. Now, Jackie was extremely excited to discover that Edgar Valdivia had shared not only cuttings with the Australian growers, her source, but also seeds as well. So I think that's going to explain a plant like this, which is called Jade Red, which is Australian, but it looks a lot like an Asunta. Look at the flower here, as you can see. So most likely, Jade Red is actually an Edgar Valdivia hybrid, not an Australian hybrid. And what I got really excited about is this photo right here. And you can see Leo Manuel and Edgar with the head person of the Israeli breeding program, Yosef Mizrahi, I believe is you pronounce his name. And so looking through all of the Israeli data, maybe some of their polyrhizas could be something like this old school Skeels. Or even more importantly, here's Hylocereus lemerii, which has been really hard to grow in Zone 9B. I've had to reroot it. But as you can see here, the Israeli research has photos. So most likely, most of the Israeli breeding program also stemmed from California rare fruit growers like Leo Manuel and Edgar Valdivia. So in short, this Diego Desert King variety, actually the DNA and genetics and sources for the parent plants most likely came from Edgar Valdivia and or Leo Manuel and the California rare fruit growers. So that's the part of the interview I wanted to clarify. So thank you for watching, and hopefully this clears it up.
So I'm really excited that I've got fruit that nobody else in the world has.
So as fate would have it, you have Edgar's plants from Israel in South Africa.
It's insane.
Right?
From Australia, yeah.
From Australia, sorry. And so you can see, here's a few pictures of the fruit that she has. And do you want to describe any varieties of yours that really stand out of those seedlings?
There are a couple that are really good. I don't like to double name, so it is really important to me to try and see if I've got a variety that just simply that has a name somewhere out there.
If it's a no ID or mislabeled?
Yeah, I don't like the mislabel. I prefer to keep it what it is.
Yes.
I've got something that it was actually the very first fruit that I noticed was a different fruit to what I'd bought. It was a magenta flesh, and it was up in a citrus tree that had popped, and it wasn't one that I hadn't bought a magenta fleshed fruit from Australia. I named it after one of my workers that has been with me the longest, and his name is Alex. And I still believe, I've even tasted a lot of your fruit, and Gray's fruit. I know we all
like our own fruit.
We all like our own.
Yeah, but they're all good.
But I really believe that Alex's tops it.
So out of your farm, that one is kind of the cream that rises to the crop.
I think so.
What color is the flesh?
It's magenta.
It's magenta.
It's probably got a little bit of a thin skin, so maybe commercially perhaps not a good idea. I think it's, there are very few people that don't think it's one of the best they've tasted.
Wow.
It's got an unusual trait in that after it's been picked, the fruit skin ripens, sort of changes to a very red, but the bracts go yellow.
Oh, wow.
So it becomes very striking.
So it's a very pretty fruit as well on the exterior.
Yeah, very, very
so pretty interior, pretty exterior,
good
sweet.
texture, yeah. It Brixes at about 19.
Does it have any acidity?
Yeah, it's
Nice.
perfectly balanced. I'm
Right.
completely biased.
That sounds like a really good one then.
Yeah.
And you believe personally that came from Edgar's breeding program
I think
early
so.
on?
Yeah, it's not.
Do you remember what year that was in the log? Was it 04?
No, it was 207, I think, or
07,
206,
okay.
207.
Yeah, I thought it was an even number, but I can't remember.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that experience with Edgar, you can see here, we got to tour not just his pitahayas, we got to tour his amazing collection of everything. He had,
Oh,
well, I mean,
what a pleasure.
mangoes. He had, what was that fruit that tastes
Rose
like
apple?
a rose? A rose apple?
Rose apple
That
that
was delicious.
tastes like fragrance. Yeah.
His mango was sweet. Some of that
Guavas,
apple, his guavas. He had so many
big
things.
selection. Mulberries, lovely. Yeah. Pomegranates, the white pomegranate.
Oh yeah, and then he had that tart one that made,
Yeah, I don't like it.
that was very interesting.
But it's nice to, to have the diversity. It's exciting.
I had no idea that he had such a diverse collection of rare fruit.
Very, very
in his-
nice. And you can see he's passionate about them too. He's
Yes.
very proud. So.
And he even gave us some seeds, so we're going to split
did?
them and see what
Yeah.
happens. They're soon to
Looking forward to
5
that.
crossed with G1, if I
Yeah,
recall.
that's right. Yeah.
And he had trays of those, so you can see he is going to be hybridizing for the rest of his life. He's going to be sharing seeds.
Yeah, no,
He's
and
probably
it's
shared
lovely.
thousands.
Oh, I think he does. He's a generous man.